Last time, you were confronted with the idea of a stable life being a lie. Not an obvious lie, a quiet one, the kind that feels reasonable, mature, and safe enough that you stop questioning it. And something in you reacted. Not loudly, not dramatically, just a slight tension, a discomfort you couldn't fully explain. But if you're honest, nothing actually changed after that. Because instead of breaking the pattern, you slid into a softer version of it, a more comfortable illusion. You tell yourself you're chasing success, growth, freedom, but what you're really chasing is the feeling of already being that person, the mental image, the identity, the relief that comes from believing you're on the right path without having to fully walk it. And that distinction matters more than you think. I know how your last few days looked. Not chaotic, not completely unproductive, just heavy in a way that's hard to explain to someone who hasn't lived it. You sat down with the intention to start something. You opened a document, a video, a plan, a note on your phone, and for a brief moment, your body relaxed because it felt like control, like movement, like progress. But then the energy faded. Your focus slipped just enough to make continuing feel uncomfortable, and that's when the familiar sentence showed up in your head, quiet and reasonable. I'll do this properly tomorrow. Not because you don't care, not because you're incapable, but because there is a feeling inside you that you don't know how to push through, a feeling of internal resistance that makes even simple actions feel heavier than they should. And what makes it worse is that you are aware of it. You know what to do. You can explain it clearly. You've fought it through from every angle, and still you don't move. That gap is where the real frustration lives, not in confusion, but in awareness without action. There is a reason this keeps happening, and it's not a moral failure. Your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do, just in a context where it works against you. Your mind rewards intention almost the same way it rewards execution. When you imagine change, your nervous system feels relief. When you plan, you feel organized. When you consume information, you feel aligned with the person you want to become. Those feelings are real, and they are dangerous, because they reduce urgency. They trick your system into thinking something has already been handled when nothing has actually changed in the real world. So the pressure disappears, and without pressure, movement stalls. This is why you can spend hours thinking about improving your life and still end the day exactly where you started. Not because you're weak, because the illusion of progress is comfortable enough to keep you still. And over time, this creates a pattern. Your intentions remain strong, your self-image remains intact, but your actions collapse the moment resistance appears. Not dramatic resistance, not extreme difficulty, just the mild discomfort of effort, uncertainty, or boredom. And every night you feel it. That low-level dissatisfaction that doesn't explode, but never fully leaves. That voice that says quietly and persistently, "This isn't matching who I believe I am." You don't ignore it, you carry it. And this is where it becomes dangerous. Not because you'll fail once or twice, but because you'll slowly adapt to the gap between who you are and who you think you are. You'll start explaining instead of changing. You'll justify instead of correcting. You'll call it timing, circumstances, mental space. And none of those are entirely false. They're just incomplete. Time will keep moving regardless. Days will pass. Years will compress faster than you expect. And one day, without warning or drama, you'll notice that your life advanced on paper, but not in the direction you meant it to. That realization doesn't arrive loudly. It doesn't come with panic. It comes quietly, and it stays. Now listen carefully. This isn't said from above you. It's said from recognition. Most people live inside this loop, aware enough to feel uncomfortable, inactive enough to remain stuck. Some learn how to numb it. Others distract themselves until the feeling dulls. A few reach a point where the internal friction becomes unbearable. That point isn't heroic. It's not motivational. It's just honest. So don't make another promise to yourself about tomorrow, or the next hour, or the moment you finally feel ready. You've already learned that readiness doesn't arrive first. It follows movement, not intention. This moment right now is not a transition. It's not a warm-up. It's not a rehearsal. This is the version of you that exists in reality. Not the one you explain, not the one you imagine, the one defined by what happens next. And when this video ends, there will be no audience, no validation, no one watching. Just you and the choice you make immediately after the screen goes dark. Whether you reach for another distraction or whether you finally act in a way that doesn't need to be announced, justified, or imagined. That choice won't define who you want to be. It will reveal who you already are.